already know what it is. ATL.
Fair to say that Persian
Like
children should be categorized in that stereotype nowadays, because we see more and more of that. Like, there are a lot more people with a lot of money here in Richmond versus 10 years ago, 15 years ago when I first moved here. Like, there were still rich people, but they weren't that extravagant. They weren't blowing their money away. Versus nowadays, you just see more and more of that. So I think it's a yes and a no. And a no would be that I don't think it's fair to categorize us all as very extravagant living, you know, like rock star-esque lives.
They just live by themselves, and parents, they pretty much just like deposit whichever amount they want. So that's why people would think that, oh, they have like endless resources, because their parents just oversee and then making money, which is true. They're just making money and like doing direct deposit into their bank account. Like, seems like they have like limited, but like Eric said, people who like, most of those are the kids that are just recently starting, like at this time period, they just started living here by themselves. But then for us, we've been like our own for so long. So at this point of stage of our life, we feel like we still have to work hard for it. So yeah, it's still different.
I always thought of it as a perk of being an astronaut or a parachute kid. Is that we don't really have to worry about money, but we have to watch out for what we decide to spend on. I think if we're speaking of immigrants in the lower mainland or the west coast of Canada, to be more specific, I think it should range in time also, because to my understanding, it was the Cantonese that came first, in large quantity. The Cantonese came in the 80s, 90s, they settled down, and then the Taiwanese came in the late 80s and the 90s and throughout the 2000s. But it's now in the 2000, since 2007, 8, 9, since the last few years, there have been more and more Chinese immigrants from China. So I think even though we are all Chinese people, but we have very different background culturally, I feel. So, each different culture would have different type of way to do things, different methods. So I think that also makes a really big difference. I've always been a pretty cautious consumer, so that was never a really big concern for me.
Yeah, for me, money-wise is not really an issue either. It's just the fact that my parents thought it's just pure for like life experience. So there's no need of me getting a job just for money to buy the things I want. But they just
support yourself.
Yeah. But then they just want to. Their ultimate goal is just they want me to start know how it feels to have a job. That's more
to grow the responsibility.
Yeah,
just